Good morning, everybody. Welcome back to another lovely stream. A lovely day. So right now, as we're starting, they are doing the live announcement of the Game Awards nominees. Like, does anyone like really care? Like enough to watch it live?
Jeff Keighley, and it is finally time.
Geoff Keighley. I mean, like, it's not the Game Awards. It's him saying what will be at the Game Awards. The Game Awards. Because we just want to see the nominations, right? Like, that's all we care about. I think that's all we care about. That's all I care about. That's all I've ever cared about. No nominees yet. Oh, he's gonna go through each one. Okay.
Cameron Monaghan as Cal Kestis, Star Wars Jedi Survivor.
Okay.
Idris Elba as Solomon Reed, Cyberpunk
Easy clap.
2077,
That takes it.
Phantom
Idris
Liberty.
takes it.
Melanie Liebert as Saga Anderson, Alan Wake 2. Neil Newbon as Astarion, Baldur's Gate 3.
No, that's a fair one.
And Yuri
Okay.
Lowenthal as Peter Parker, Marvel's Spider-Man 2. For Best Ongoing Game, the nominees are Apex Legends, Cyberpunk 2077, Final Fantasy XIV, Fortnite, Genshin Impact. In the category of Best Multiplayer, presented
Respectfully, I think you got to give it to Fortnite, though. Like, what other game is driving, what was it, 44 million players in a day? Like 5-6 years after launch? It's got to be Fortnite,
The
right?
nominees for Best Art Direction are Alan Wake 2, Hi-Fi Rush, Lies of P,
Oh, yep.
Super Mario Bros. Wonder.
It's going to be Super Mario
and
that
The
wins,
Legend of
but it
Zelda:
should be
Tears
Lies
of
of
the
P.
Kingdom. For Best Score and Music, the nominees are Alan Wake 2, composer Petri Alonko, Baldur's Gate 3, composer Borislav Slavov, Final Fantasy
Yeah,
16,
Slavovs.
composer Masayoshi Soken, Hi-Fi Rush, audio director Shuichi Kobori, and The Legend of Zelda: Tears of the Kingdom, composed
Baldur's
by
Gate.
Nintendo Sound Team. The Best
Hi-Fi
Audio
Rush was
Design
very good too,
nominees
though.
are
That's fair.
Alan Wake 2, Dead Space, Marvel's Spider-Man 2, and Resident Evil 4. Best Adaptation recognizes excellence in authentically creating shows, movies, and other creative endeavors based on video game worlds and characters. Here are this year's nominees for Best Adaptation: Castlevania Nocturne, Gran Turismo, The Last of Us,
It's got to be The Last
Super
of Us,
Mario
right?
Brothers movie, and Twisted Metal.
Like, The Last of Us
narrative, the
spilled
nominees
over
are
into, like, the
Alan Wake
mainstream,
2,
hardcore. It's got to be
Baldur's
The
Gate
Last
3,
of Us.
Cyberpunk 2077,
Baldur's
Phantom
Gate has
Liberty,
to take narrative.
Final Fantasy 16, and Marvel's Spider-Man 2. Games for Impact celebrates thought-provoking games with profound pro-social meaning. This year's
Pro-social,
nominees
as opposed to
are
anti-social.
A Space for the Unbound, Chance of Sonar,
So does that mean if they weren't nominated, they have an anti-social message?
Terra Nil, and Venba.
Never heard of
Best
any of them.
Independent game, the nominees are Cocoon, Dave the Diver,
Dave the Diver,
Dredge.
that's very good. Dredge is very
Sea of
good.
Stars, and Viewfinder. For Best Mobile Game, the nominees are Final Fantasy VII Ever Crisis,
How about Crisis?
Honkai Star Rail, Hello Kitty Island Adventure, Monster Hunter Now, and Terra Nil. Best Community Support acknowledges a game for exceptional support, transparency, and responsiveness to players. The nominees are Baldur's Gate 3, Cyberpunk 2077, Destiny 2,
Probably Baldur's
Final Fantasy
Gate.
14, and No Man's Sky. Okay, now it's time for Best Debut Indie Game, which recognizes a development team that hasn't been on the TGA stage before. In fact, these teams published their first game in 2023. The nominees are Cocoon, Dredge, Pizza Tower, Venba, and Viewfinder. For Best VR AR Game, the nominees are Gran Turismo 7, Humanity, Horizon Call of the Mountain,
No way.
Resident Evil Village VR Mode, and Synapse. For Content Creator of the Year, the nominees are
A bunch of people I've never heard of.
People Make Games,
I've heard of them.
Rackety, Screen,
Nope.
and Cypher PK. What's your most anticipated upcoming game? remember, this has to be a game that's officially
People make
announced.
games. They're the ones that did that
Nominees
documentary
are
on
Final
Disco
Fantasy
Elysium,
VII
weren't they?
Rebirth, Hades 2, Like a Dragon Infinite Wealth, Star Wars Outlaws, and Tekken 8.
Outlaws out of
Your
those, I
nominees
think.
for Best Action Adventure Game are Alan Wake 2, Marvel's Spider-Man 2, Resident Evil 4, Star Wars Jedi Survivor, and The Legend of Zelda Tears of the Kingdom. For
Probably
Best
Spider-Man or
Role-Playing
Zelda.
Game, the jury selected Baldur's Gate 3. Final
How does
Fantasy
anything other
16,
than Baldur's Gate win
Lies
RPG,
of
though?
P,
Like, let's be honest.
Sea
How
of
does anything
Stars,
else
and
take it?
Starfield. In the
Lamau.
category of Best
We're
Fighting
aiming for a
Game,
controversial
nominees
7 out
are
of 10.
God of Rock, Mortal Kombat 1, Nickelodeon's All-Star Brawl 2,
Okay.
Pocket Bravery, and Street Fighter 6. The nominees for Best Action Game are Armored Core 6 Fires of Rubicon, Dead Island 2,
Oh, yeah,
Ghost
that
Runner
was
2,
this year.
Hi-Fi Rush, and Remnant 2. Innovation and accessibility celebrates games that are making our industry available and enjoyable to more people. Selected by a special committee of accessibility experts, this year's nominees for innovation and accessibility are Diablo 4, Forza Motorsport, Hi-Fi Rush, Marvel's Spider-Man 2, Mortal Kombat 1, and Street Fighter 6. Next up, Best Family
I have no idea
Game.
about those.
Nominees are Disney Illusion Island, Party Animals, Pikmin 4, Sonic Superstars, and Super Mario Bros. Wonder.
Probably Super Mario.
The Best Sim Strategy nominees are Advance Wars 1 and 2.
It seems like if Super Mario is ever nominated for anything, they probably take it.
Company of Heroes 3,
People are crazy
Fire
for Mario,
Emblem
dude.
Engage, and Pikmin 4. This year, these 5 games are nominated for Best Sports Racing. EA Sports FC 24, F1 23, Forza Motorsport, Hot Wheels Unleashed 2 Turbocharged,
Hell yeah.
and the Crew Motorfest. Now a look at our esports categories, starting with Best Esports Game. The nominees are Counter-Strike 2, Dota 2, League of Legends, PUBG Mobile, and Valorant. Your Best Esport Athlete nominees are Demon 1,
Never heard of him. Never heard of him.
Hydra,
Never heard of him.
Imperial Howl,
Never heard of him.
Ruler,
Never heard of him.
and Zywoo.
No clue.
For Best Esports Team, our committee nominated these teams: Evil Geniuses Valorant, Fnatic Valorant, Game & Gladiators Dota 2, JD Gaming League of Legends, and Team Vitality Counter-Strike. The Best Esports Coach nominees are Potter,
Like, I appreciate them trying to get esports into the mainstream and stuff, but so often it just feels like that thing from Mean Girls. Stop trying to make fetch a thing. You know, nobody cares. Stop it. That's so fetch.
Blast
That's
TV
so
Paris
esports.
Major 2023, Evo 2023, the International Dota 2 Championships 2023, and Valorant Champions 2023. All right, you ready? It's time for our final 2 categories. Best Game Direction, which recognizes extraordinary creative vision and innovation in game direction and design. This year's nominees
What we
are
got?
Alan Wake 2, Baldur's Gate 3, Marvel's Spider-Man 2, Super Mario Bros. Wonder, and The Legend of Zelda Tears of the Kingdom.
I think Baldur's Gate or Zelda.
Okay, finally, on behalf of the jury, I am proud to announce the 6 nominees selected for outstanding creative and technical excellence. The nominees for Game of the Year at the Game Awards are
Let's see.
Alan Wake 2, developed by Remedy Entertainment, Baldur's Gate 3 from Larian Studios, Marvel's Spider-Man 2 from Insomniac Games, Resident Evil 4 from Capcom,
Surprising.
Super Mario Bros. Wonder from Nintendo,
Lamau.
and The Legend of Zelda
Yeah,
Tears
shocker,
of the
right?
Kingdom from Nintendo.
What?
And there you have it.
Okay, enough, Jeff. Enough Geoff Keighley. It's fine. I mean, honestly, like, I don't see how anything other than like Tears of the Kingdom is a serious contender against Baldur's Gate. As for like, I know some people are like, oh, so no Starfield. That's not really a shocker. Let's be honest. I mean, I'm not surprised about that. But because like, I mean, the general consensus with Starfield is that it's like high 7s, like maybe low 8s out of 10, but it's not like Game of the Year material. So that doesn't really surprise me. What I am also not really surprised by is Hogwarts Legacy being largely ignored. And I think it makes sense, like these guys, because Hogwarts Legacy was quite controversial, shall we say. I think they just decided to not nominate it for anything and move on. I thought maybe they'd nominate it and then just not awarded anything, but I think it deserved, like, I don't think it even got nominated for best music, did it? Like best soundtrack? The fact that it didn't get nominated for soundtrack is like laughable, honestly. And I know you could argue like, oh, well, but it's not like music that they wrote. They based it off of music from the movie. So it's not really like they built the whole thing from scratch. And I guess you could argue that, but if you're going to do that, I don't think you can nominate Resident Evil 4 for anything. Because anything you want to compliment Resident Evil 4 for, you can just be like, well, the original designers did it, you know? Oh, hold on. The missus summons me. The missus summons me. Watch a trailer. I'll be right back. How did you guys like the Hassan reaction? Was that good? What did you think? What did you think? Yeah, I mean, honestly, I'm just shocked that Hogwarts Legacy didn't even get music as a nomination. Like, that's pretty laughable. That's pretty laughable. Like, you can say a lot. You can be like, oh, well, the writer is a bigot and I don't want to participate. Okay, that's cool. Or you can be like, oh, there was a lot of technical issues. Totally agree. Fair. But how are you going to tell me with a straight face that the music with Hogwarts Legacy is not amazing? Like, come on. Come off it. Come and then off it. I actually prefer watching the chair react. Yeah, it tends to have less bad takes. I'm going to be real. She's all faithful, all reliable. How is Alan Wake 2 nominated for as much as it is, yet no Hogwarts? Personally, I understand why people like Alan Wake 2 as much as they do. I like it a lot. I think like the story is where it's really good, and I think that that's fair. But to like nominate, I don't remember if it got nominated for Pirates. Let me see if they posted it at like action game. But in terms of gameplay, I find Alan Wake 2 to be woefully lacking. Come on. Come on. It's getting it. Even just the castle and Hogwarts should have gotten best art. I mean, that's another great point, the art direction. But I mean, I think they could always just say, oh, well, it's because... No, it's not up yet. They could always just say, oh, well, no, it's more the movies that... Oh, maybe. Visual category. There we go. They could just say, oh, well, the movies are what did the art direction. The game didn't really do much of anything. But you can literally say that about any of these like remakes or remasters or anything. It's like Resident Evil 4 then shouldn't be considered for anything. So it was like, best audio design, best performance, best art direction, best narrative, games for impact, whatever that means. Best action game. Is their website just broken right now? There we go. Okay. Armored Core, that's totally fair. That's fair. Remnant 2, totally agree. Hi-Fi, I agree. Ghost Runner, I'm going to be real. No clue. Didn't touch it. Dead Island 2 is good. I mean, it definitely was surprising how good it was. Everybody was braced for that to be a total flop after being in development hell for so many years. But it ended up being pretty good, which is a lot more than a lot of people thought. Hogwarts Legacy getting shut out. Yeah. I really think it's just, it was a more controversial game. So they decided not to even touch it. Isn't Spider-Man an action game? I think it's more of like action adventure, but I mean, you're right. It is really hard to say like which of these is considered what. Because some of these, I think, span like action adventure. Their website's down. Come on. Are that many people really trying to pull up the Game Awards nominees? I guess we're doing it. I'm part of the problem. Ah, geez, you know what? Who cares? I mean, I think it's very, like, you don't know. Some of these games cross over, like, you know, is it action? Is it action adventure? Can it count towards both? Can you give an action adventure game the award for action adventure and also action? At the end of the day, like, it's all just made up anyways. So, like, who really cares? You know, it doesn't really matter. At the end of the day, all that really matters is what you personally enjoyed the most this year. And if that happens to get awards, awesome. Awesome. If it doesn't get awards, who cares? Doesn't matter. If your favorite game of the year was freaking Starfield, awesome. If your favorite game of the year was Forspoken, cool. Whatever. You know, it's just about what you like. Of course, we like the things that we love to get recognition. Totally understand that. Jesus, dude, why did this just get recommended to me? Okay, hold on. Pause. Weird new segment alert. This just got recommended on my YouTube page. You see this right here? X-Play Episode Compendium 2005 edition. It's a 12-hour video. And look at this transportation back in time. So I don't know if you guys grew up on X-Play. Oh my God, dude. It's so 2005. Oh, dude.
Please welcome some people on this show. Adam Sessler and more.
Oh, the random zoom-ins they used to do.
Hello, and welcome to X-Play, the show that brings you brutally honest video game reviews.
On today's episode, we review two of the biggest online RPGs of the year.
World of Warcraft.
And EverQuest 2.
Yes, elves, dragons, dwarves, and two games that will take over your life, ruin your marriage, and consume your soul. If you still have one after watching this show.
Which you don't. But that's not all. We also have Madden NFL Flip.
Oh my God, dude, it's so cringe and I love it so much. Dude, it's it's like if a bunch of like middle schoolers or high schoolers came together and were like, let's create a TV show. Let's do that. Man, this is a throwback. So for those of you that like maybe are not familiar, this particular show, X-Play, let's see if we can just pull up like the Wikipedia on it. X-Play, which you might recognize it from this logo, which is a little different than what they're showing in this. You might have also heard of it with like G4. G4 was a channel that it was basically centered around gaming and like tech and all of this stuff that now is almost exclusively on YouTube and streaming and everything else. But it was a TV channel. And the idea was basically, hey, there's a ton of gamers out there. Why don't we create a TV channel for gamers and nerds and just put content on there 24/7. We'll rake it in. It'll be great. And it's true that they did, in fact, make buku bucks for a while, but you notice like it started to die out right around 2013. Everything went towards G4 from 2005 to 2013, and then in 2013 they shut it down. And it was really, really interesting. There's many moving parts to it, but at the end of the day, the core problem was just that TV productions like this are very expensive. These guys are making buku bucks doing this. And then they have a studio space, expensive cameras, there's licensing fees, they have 20 writers involved. Like, it's a huge operation with millions and millions and millions of dollars at play. And it's just like, it's a big operation. And then once YouTube came along, and then you had people that were able to do these updates instantaneously in the middle of the night when news would drop, just like fine. Like nothing was happening. They just couldn't compete anymore. And then a lot of the people that worked on these shows ended up going and starting their own YouTube channels, kind of going independent, creating their own careers and platforms. And, I think the nostalgia factor, a lot of people look back on this, at least a few years ago. And those of you who know the end of the story know how this is going to go. But a lot of us were like, oh, this would be so cool to have again, to have basically another channel or high production value TV grade show on video games. Wouldn't that be cool? Turns out not really. There's a reason that it kind of died out. What happened is after 2013, they shut the show down and kind of moved on, but they brought it back. So on July 24th of 2020, the Twitter accounts of G4, Attack of the Show, and X-Play were reactivated to post a teaser video announcing a revival of the network slated for 2021. The teaser was released during Comic-Con at Home, the first virtual streaming edition of the San Diego Comic-Con. G4's website was reopened with a playable game of Pong, which, if won, redirected to a mailing list to sign up for updates and a free shirt promo code. The campaign was in reference to the network's original launch in 2002 and their shutdown in 2014. And this was basically, it'll load. This is what they posted. I mean, we never stopped playing. And everybody, you can see like, people start to be like, oh, this is interesting. 48,000 likes. People seemed to be interested, right? People seemed to be interested, which was great. Oh, Jesus Christ. Hold on. You guys are popping off. I'm getting distracted. I'm sorry. Jesus Christ. Josh Schwa, thank you. Just gifted 10 freaking community subs on Twitch. Thank you, my friend. Jesus. Well, if you're watching on Twitch, check. You might have just got gifted a sub. That's fantastic. Thank you, Josh, so much. Have I seen her play Gatekeeper? I don't think so. I think I've seen it, but I don't think I've ever actually booted it up. And Bellary or B7ery, I'm not sure. Thank you also for subscribing with Prime. Appreciate you. And Brandon Reyes, also, thank you for 13 months of support. If Alan Wake 2 doesn't win Best Soundtrack, I'm losing my mind. Also, what are the top 3 studios making stuff right now? Top 3 after Phantom Liberty, I'd probably say CDPR. Their quality is just insane. Larian and Rockstar. Everything they touch seems to turn to gold. And Sean Dada, thank you, my friend. Just gifted 5 memberships as well. You guys are ridiculous. Is it the red shirt? It's the red shirt, isn't it? You guys are crazy. Thank you so much, guys, for everything. Appreciate you all. Thank you so much. Okay. So, the point with all this is that a lot of people were very excited at the prospect of G4 returning. Now, you may be listening and being like, Luke, I still don't know what G4 is. I haven't heard of these guys. Are they still even doing stuff? Where are they? Clearly, they can't be that successful if I haven't heard of them or if they haven't been making stuff that's trending in the gaming space. And you're right. They have not been, because they actually are no longer a thing. And there's a lot of moving parts to this tale of the collapse of all of this. It's a little more complicated than you might have thought Let me see if I can find it. X-Play. I think this was it. Yeah. So they brought it back, and this was the channel. I mean, they had all sorts of stuff. So their content would be something like this. So like this is a video on Gotham Knights. If we pull that up, if we just watch a tidbit of this, this should tell you like, okay, is this worth millions and millions of dollars? Because G4, we'll see if we can find it. I forget exactly the amount of money involved in the relaunch, but it was millions and millions of dollars. I mean, tons of money was poured into this reboot at just millions and millions of dollars, and it ended up just totally floundering. But it's because, again, if you watch these videos, like, is this content worth millions of dollars of expense?
Gotham Knights follows Nightwing, Tim Drake Robin, Red Hood, and Batgirl as they try to protect Gotham in the wake of Batman's death. That's right.
So it's okay. I mean, they got bookmarks here, characters, co-op, initial impressions, interview with devs. So they have connections. I mean, this is one of the biggest things that a place like G4 or Kind of Funny Games, like they have at their disposal, is that they have the connections to get like dev interviews, to get early access to stuff, you know, and that's a huge, huge perk that not many independent creators have. I mean, a lot of these big companies view like YouTubers and streamers as, perhaps rightly so, nobodies that shouldn't be given much credit or time of day, which again, perhaps fair. But these guys, because they've been in the industry for 25 years and everybody remembers G4, when G4 emails them asking, hey, can we interview you about Gotham Knights? They say, oh yeah, hell yeah, come on, let's talk. And so they don't even necessarily need a huge channel or a ton of reach to get that, which is one of the benefits of just the connections that they have. But with all of this, like, oh my god, wait,
would you like to introduce yourselves?
Sure. My name is Christopher McMahon,
so
and I'm the level.
listen, like the audio quality.
But now we're going to talk about Gotham Knights, and with me I've got two of the developers on the game. Would you like to introduce yourselves?
Oh god. So audio's peaking all over the place. Like, it's, you would not think that this is a super professional production, which is funny, but like they sit down and then they talk and
The best in general.
do like
So
a panel interview type of thing about the game.
I did try to rotate when you could, so I also played as Batgirl, and then when we did co-op, I played as Robin. So I tried.
And it's fine. It's fine content. I don't think it's worth millions of investment. Like, I think you get two guys that are independent and they'll pump this out probably faster and way cheaper. And that's kind of what they realized, is at 56,000 views, like straight up, if I put together a 27 minute video where I even had dev interviews, so presumably this involved like a flight out to the studio, this involved like a week plus of work, and it did 56,000 views, I would be very upset at that performance. And it's just because, like, you know, if you're going to put a certain level of effort in, you need a certain return on that. And they weren't achieving it. They were struggling pretty hard. I mean, you can see all of the videos from a year ago, or stop about a year ago. But you can see there's a lot of other stuff, and like 19,000 views, 18,000, 31, 41, 19, 197. That's pretty good. And then back down 48, 9.9, 12,000. You know, these view counts are just not sustainable for perhaps even a team of 2 people, much less a team of like 30 plus people, which is what they had. So they started getting tons of layoffs involved with this. But the first domino to fall wasn't actually any of this stuff. It wasn't that people just didn't really like it. Initially, when they launched it, people liked it. What happened was what's known as the Frost meltdown, which I think there's a handful of problems with this, which is why it resonated so poorly with everybody. But basically, Frost, I'm not familiar with Frost. It's I don't really know who this is, but Frost was one of the people on the show pretty regularly. I think one of the commentators, I don't know if Frosk was a reviewer too, or what? But Frosk at one point in the middle of a show just stopped everything and started going off like this.
Player experience versus the solo player one, but I actually want to talk about something so much more important than Red Dead Online.
So she was asked about Red Dead Online, and like that's what they were talking about. And then watch how Frosk proceeds to not talk about Red Dead Online.
Sexism in gaming. In joining G4...
This is not where I thought we were going.
Yeah, see, everybody is like, I mean, we're supposed to talk about Red Dead. Like, I've said many times, there's absolutely a lot of sexist pieces of crap in the industry. And like, I know firsthand, having tried to play games online with like my wife, the second they hear a female's voice in the chat, it's unbelievable what some of these people will say, just being in like a Call of Duty lobby. Like there is a problem with it. And that's why for a lot of female gamers, it's not welcoming. And I think we should try to, overcome that. I think we're all better than that. And that's absolutely a problem, but nobody's doubting that. Like, I think everybody can agree, probably even those people that say that stuff in COD lobbies would agree. Yeah, I mean, that's pretty sexist. I don't think they would even disagree about this. They're just trying to be funny or trying to make their friends laugh or something. I think it's a bad attempt, but I think they would agree. But what is about to happen is Frosk is about to go off on this like big rant about how the people that are watching the show are all a major part of the problem, are all big, a big part of this. And it basically turns into just lecturing the audience about how bad they are. And shocker, the audience didn't really like hanging around after that, because shocker, when you hang around and like, if you go somewhere and then you're berated, you don't really like going there anymore. Shocker, right?
I had no idea.
I'm listening.
Yeah. In joining G4, I was ecstatic to be part of something that I grew up watching as a child. But every time G4 is brought up in various channels, even in this YouTube channel, we have the chat in front of us. I can see you. Without a doubt, there will be backlash because I'm not as bangable as the previous hosts. It's somehow...
Talk to him, Frost!
It has somehow been expected that you can talk about how much you jerked off to women as a compliment.
That
It's
shit weird.
not a compliment.
It's weird.
It's dehumanizing and it's weird.
And again, I agree with everything Frosk is saying. I would just say that if you want it to stop, this is not how you do it. Because as we've seen many times before with many individual points of reference, if you find a troll and the troll demands your attention and that's what they feed on, and then you feed it your attention, the troll doesn't go away. The troll gets hungrier and stays around and keeps participating and getting more and more rabid. So I agree, this is absolutely a problem. Everything Frosk is saying is true. But in a segment talking about Red Dead Online, there's shocker, this isn't received super well. And guess what? After this, there was a huge influx of that negative type of behavior in their chats. In our stuff, in our comment sections, in all of our stuff, like when we see stuff that we don't like there was one guy, one just insane person. I don't even know what would compel you to do this, but there was a guy that was going around a lot of our videos on the live channel and then also on the main channel. And I think it was because I didn't like Starfield actually. But basically started posting comments saying that this individual wanted to go and commit pretty horrible acts to my wife and children while forcing me to watch. Pretty horrible stuff. Now, did I start replying to the comments and quote tweet it and post it everywhere? Look at this. This is on it. No, because that's basically what he wants. Instead, we just ban him. We ban all of his stuff. And actually what we do is typically for that, we hide them on the channel. So they can still post comments and feel like they're doing something, but it's just not seen by anybody else on the channel, which is, I think, really funny. They think that I'm trolling him so bad. Nobody ever sees the comment again. Nothing you post will ever be seen. So Yeah, but that's how you tend to deal with it. Like with trolls, attention is what they feed on, and you cannot give it to them. Otherwise, it gets worse and worse and worse. And so with this speech that Frosk gave, like, again, I think everybody would agree with most of what Frosk is saying, but it's not the time and place. And later on in the speech, it tends to get much more accusatory towards the broad viewership. And people just started to disconnect. And they're like, okay, if I'm going to come here and watch and like try to relax to video games, like I don't want to have to think about all of this crap. I want to just think about video games, you know?
Women do not exist to be nice on the eyes for you. Morgan Webb, Olivia Munn did not exist to be nice on the eyes for you.
Hey, she cooking, y'all.
And that's just obvious sexism. You don't need to explicitly objectify women or declare that you hate women to be sexist. Just go ahead and check out Thorne's latest meltdown on Twitter for some spark notes. Now, here at XPlay, our reviews are written and produced by a team of people. There are too many games for one person to shoulder the burden. So we divide and conquer. And when we use language like we or I, that's the reviewer. That's coming from the mouth and experience of the reviewer reading that review. And that's not to say that Gerard, TBH, Adam, or myself don't contribute to the reviews. We absolutely do. But it'll always be in varying degrees and take a whole team behind us. That's why we're XPlay and not Adam Play. We have done the experiment.
I'm sorry. It's just, if anybody ever claps like this in any context, I just find it so cringe. No matter how, like, it could be that I was trapped in a mine for 3 weeks, alone, starving, having to drink my own pee, and just miserable. And then if I leave the cave and then I see this clapping, hold on. If I see this, somebody clapping one of the rescuers, I'm going back in the cave. Like, I'm good. I'm good. If you... like, what is that? Stop it. What are we doing? It's the deadpan face too. Just the eyes locked. I'm sorry. It's just so funny. So with all of this, I mean, again, most of what Frosk is saying is like, yeah, no, I agree. You're not saying anything that shocking, but the tone, the delivery, the time and place, everything came off to the viewers as accusatory towards them, not like a calling out of the trolls. It came off as lecturing the audience about caring about the looks of the presenters and being sexist in all these various ways. And so viewership started to dry up very quickly. Soon after, Frosk left the team, and viewership just kept plummeting and plummeting. And as you can see on the channel now, I mean, they had to shut it down because it just was not paying the bills. It wasn't profitable, and it just didn't make sense. The other piece was Adam Sessler, this guy, in all these thumbnails that you see, one of the big mainstay guys that you saw here. Where is he? Just go back to the beginning. Yeah, this guy, one of the OGs. He has a nasty Twitter addiction. And so he had a habit of like going on Twitter and telling people that he disagreed with politically to go die, and he wished that they ended up like dead and killed and stuff. Just nasty stuff, regardless of who you are or what side of any political aisle you sit. That type of behavior is just like, yeah, shocker. When you tell half like the US that you hope they die, that half of the US doesn't really want to watch you or support you. Again, shocker. But there was just a lot of things. Like, they had a lot of people who I think were convinced that they were invincible, and were convinced that, well, no, we're XPlay, we're G4, we have millions of dollars behind us. We're going to do what we want. The community will suck it up, because that's what they were able to do back in 2005 when there wasn't competition. But now there's competition, and if you don't like the way that the presenters describe things, if you don't like the way that They behave on Twitter. If you don't like the way that they lecture you about being a sexist pig, you just go somewhere else. You watch something else. And that's inevitably what happened. So everybody left, stopped watching, the view counts dried up, and they shut it down. And G4 TV is being shut down only a year after its relaunch. CEO says investment and efforts to revive the network just didn't gain traction. And I mean, again, you can see they had massive teams of people. This is from a picture where they had all of these people on the lower level up the stairs, and then above the stairs is a whole floor of people, writers, editors, staff. I mean, all told, at its peak, this was probably a production with like 50 to 100 people. Like 50 to 100. It's crazy. It's crazy. Yeah, the timing and severity of the cuts took staff by surprise, with talent showing up on set today ready to film, only to have programming canceled as HR reps met individually with employees. While it's not clear what the extent of the layoffs will be, one source said those affected were told that they would receive anywhere between 16 weeks and 6 months of severance based on their tenure with Comcast, G4's parent company. Yeah, they had Comcast behind them. Despite the assurances in subsequent broadcasts, there were no plans to scale back the channel's programming. X-Play host Indiana Froskerin Black, so Frosk, and Attack of the Show co-host Kevin also left shortly afterwards. This has been in motion for a long time. I know there's been some wacky events in the ether as of late, but months and months and months back, this time was sort of decided. The show's going dark for 2 weeks and coming back. I won't be here. Sorry. There's just, again, they shut it down. It didn't work. It didn't work. And it was a great example of why media and how media has changed since the 2005 era. Because in 2005, yeah, this was a great idea. You would have a show committed to gamers. So if gamers wanted content and to see latest trailers and reviews and stuff, they could just turn on G4, and that's what they did. And I remember like hearing the stories of people being like, oh, this new game's launching. Let's go tune into G4 at the exact time the review drops and see what they thought of it. And it was cool. But in the age of the internet, there's just no reason for this to exist. And it's just not competitive. It's why, like, when there were those rumors that Scott the Woz was going to sign a deal and do like a full TV production with crazy high budgets and everything for his show, it just didn't make sense. And that's why he ended up just like rerunning and airing old episodes he had already made, which honestly worked way better. But it's just because times have changed and it doesn't work anymore. So the rise and fall and then re-rise and re-fall of G4 and X-Play was fascinating, and unfortunately also very predictable. If they had some people that could have told them honestly, maybe this isn't a great idea or how you should handle and approach your audience, you know. But that is the tale of G4. It's pretty insane. And maybe like they'll get revamped again. Maybe there'll be another alternative that launches, but I think it just goes to show that when you have a big high production value review and stuff, it's just really hard to remain competitive. It just is. Let's get through these super chats and subs and everything. I'm sorry for falling behind. Trying to keep focused for the segment. Let's see. Venom Gaming, thank you for the 10. Companies have a trend of crapping on their fans and blaming them for their problems, then going all shocked Pikachu meme when things collapse around their ears and the profits take a fall down the crapper. Yeah, Venom, I absolutely agree. I mean, you're actually seeing it right now with Disney. I don't know if you guys have been in tune with everything going on with Disney, but basically they have had flop after flop after flop. And the most recent one was the Marvels that just came out. And that was received okay by the people that saw it, by all of the fan that saw it. And as a result, like, it's going to lose well over $100 million probably, possibly closer to 2 when you factor in any marketing stuff. And so it's just like sheer madness, how much money it's losing. But some people within Disney are saying, no, it's actually the actors' fault, because the actors went on strike and couldn't promote the movie in interviews. So therefore, it's the actors' fault that the movie's doing badly, which I don't buy. Like, if I want to see a movie, it's because I want to see the movie, not because the actors did an interview with Entertainment Magazine, you know, like, who cares? But like, there's clearly a lot of problems within Disney, and the leadership has been floundering, and Bob Iger's, I think Bob Iger, the reason everybody thinks that he's been such a magical, magnificent CEO is because he had the luck of buying Marvel, and then Marvel exploded and had the Marvel Cinematic Universe that just printed money for like a decade and a half. And then when that ended, he had nothing else. Like, he had struck into a gold mine and acted like he was this magical, mystical CEO that was amazing, world-class leader. And then that vein ran out, and he's like, oh, well, how do I run the company now? And the stock price has been plummeting. Investors are super pissed off. The parks have been struggling. Like, there's all of these other problems involved with it. He destroyed Star Wars. Like, everybody's unhappy. And he's like, well, but remember I did the Marvel thing? And everybody's like, no, you took Pixar. Pixar's collapsed. You also took like the MCU, and that ended and now is actively collapsing again. Like, Star Wars is collapsing. Like, you've managed to just destroy every semblance of goodwill that you had. And now nobody has any confidence in whatsoever. It actually looks like, and here's a little prediction outside of the gaming space for you. I think Bob Iger is gone within a year. He might announce a retirement early. He might be booted out by the board of directors, whatever it may be. He might just let his contract expire. But I don't think Bob Iger's there in a year. I think the investors are pissed off, as they should be. If I own Disney stock, which thank God I don't, I would be very pissed too. I'd be very pissed. I don't buy individual stocks anymore. I just have automated trading on ETFs and stuff. Because I ain't touching that crap with a 10-foot pole. I ain't touching that crap. Better believe it. So yeah, but Disney is now like, they're blaming the actors, and then they're also blaming the fans for like not wanting to support a movie led by women and being sexist and stuff. And viewers are just like, I don't know, man. The Marvels, like, I don't have a problem with the Marvels. I'm not the quartering. Like, I'm fine, but like, I'm burnt out on superhero movies. Like, they've made the same movie 35 times. I'm just bored of them. Like, that's all it is. But they're trying to come up with any reason that it's a failure other than their formula is just not working anymore, you know? Which is, we'll see. They have to acknowledge reality sooner or later. But anyway, thank you for thank you for the super chat. Sorry, I'm all lightheaded after that. Kazuma, thank you for the 10 also. Luke, thank you on the recommendation for Baldur's Gate 3. Bought it, and it's amazing. Even though it was not my type of game, Baldur's Gate 3 with mods is even more amazing. Yeah, all sorts of little mods you can do to like tweak how inventory management works. You can tweak, all sorts of stuff. We actually have a video that'll be going up later in the week that is specifically on Hogwarts Legacy mods, because I downloaded mods that not only let you do stuff like fly dragons, but add like a curfew that increase the intelligence of NPCs, give NPCs schedules so they walk from their common rooms or to classes and stuff, have class schedules. On the weekends, they go to Hogsmeade and like all sorts of cool stuff like that. So that video will go up later in the week. It's super cool. But I'm glad to hear you're enjoying it, Kazuma. I love to hear that. I love to hear that. Let's see, check over on Twitch. Give me just a second. Somehow I closed the tab. I'm terrible. There we go. Okay. Oh, lots of follows. Thank you everybody for following. Appreciate you. Will a Black Cauldron live action remake be the thing to put the final nail in the coffin? Dude, if they did that, I can't even, like, they're like, this movie was not loved at all when it launched. Let's try again. We'll cast Rosie O'Donnell as the Cauldron. It'll be great. Yeah. Oh man. Yeah, Iger just came back not that long ago from his first retirement. Yeah, well, they brought him back because Bob Chapek was blowing it, and they're like, okay, well, Bob Iger knows what he's doing. He'll save us. And shocker, didn't really save him. And instead, just everybody's like, actually, like, he doesn't really seem to know what he's doing. It seems like His magic was just that Marvel printed money for them, and now that Marvel is not printing money anymore, he has no clue what to do. And it's painfully obvious. I mean, it's very, very clear that that's what's happening. Let's lower that light down. There we go. The drama and stories that happen during endurance races are more entertaining to me than modern entertainment. Luke, there's a mod in Baldur's Gate 3 called Improved AI, which vastly improves the AI of the game. It's like playing another game, either dialogue or combat-wise. Really? I might have to try that. I've been playing Jurassic World Evolution 2 because it was free on PlayStation 5. I can't stop playing it. Oh, really? Dude, I love those simulation games. I think trying to make male franchises female-friendly causes issues. I think it's that, like, if you want the crossover, like, say you reboot, I don't know, Ghostbusters, like that one, where they took Ghostbusters, replaced all the male cast with female actors or actresses. I know they were saying that they were going to, like, stop calling them actresses and everybody was going to be actors, but I don't know if that ever actually happened. So I don't know what the official term is, but, like, if you're going to do that, a lot of male viewers will look at it, especially with something as beloved as Ghostbusters. They're going to be like, I mean, it was defined by Bill Murray, by the whole cast originally, and you just, like, dumped him off to the side. And so people are like, I didn't ask for this. And so they don't go see it. And then there's a lot of people that also are just like, I don't know, I don't care about Ghostbusters. I never did. That's why I wasn't a fan originally. It wasn't that, like, I wasn't a fan because it was all men leading the way. Like, I wasn't a fan just because I wasn't interested. Like, that's it. That's all that there is to it. And so it's just a misconception that, and maybe this is just me being naive. I don't think that, at least people in America, largely on the whole, at least, I don't think Americans are like that absurdly comically sexist where they're like, no, I'm not seeing that movie because, like, and this is on both sides. I'm not seeing that movie because it's all men leading it. But if they cast some women, I would then watch it. Like, I don't think people are like that. I think people are just like, hey, if it's a good movie, I'll go watch the good movie. Like, we watched Barbie, and it was funny. It was like an honestly funny movie. It was just a good movie. And so we watched it. We enjoyed it. I don't care that they, like, who they cast or how they did it. Like, who cares? Or like with, I don't know what's a more, I guess, controversial. I don't even know. Like, I don't think a lot of people are like that. I think a lot of people just want good movies. And if the good movie happens to be led by male or female, or it's a dog, like Isle of Dogs or something, like, who cares? Just make a good movie. But that consideration seems to have been totally lost. And a lot of these Hollywood types are like, no, the good movie, we don't have to worry about that. We just have to come up with the right mixture of, like, this superhero, and then also this person gets their butt kicked, and then we put in this political reference, and it's like, nobody cares. Just, like, stop. Can we just stop? Warzone Survivor, what's your take on Warner Brothers going all live service? Yeah, let's pull that up. So I guess we can touch on this real quick. So if you missed it last week, there was an interview by David Zaslav. If you don't know that guy, he is the Warner Brothers CEO. And he talked about all sorts of stuff. I mean, it was part of an earnings call where he was answering questions and said this stuff. So he was talking about the whole business, you know, more broadly. But one of the things he was asked about was their gaming segment. And what he said was pretty shocking, especially in light of recent developments. And we'll go through this real quick. He said that they plan to transform the biggest gaming franchises from traditional console and PC releases into always-on live service games. What he said specifically was, quote, "Our focus is on transforming our biggest franchises from largely console and PC-based with 3 to 4 year release schedules to include more always-on gameplay through live services, multi-platform, and free-to-play extensions, with the goal to have more players spending more time on more platforms. Ultimately, we want to drive engagement and monetization of longer cycles and at higher levels. We are currently under scale and see significant opportunity to generate greater post-purchase revenue." End quote. Now, why is this surprising? Well, as you can see, they have footage pulled up of Suicide Squad. Suicide Squad is like the prime example of why this just doesn't make sense. This has been overwhelmingly negatively received. As they've shown more of Suicide Squad, less people have gotten excited. Normally, you would hope that as you show more of something you are planning to release, people get more excited. Imagine that, right? As you see more of Spider-Man 2 approaching launch, you get more excited. As you see more of Starfield closer to launch, you get more excited. Suicide Squad, it's the complete opposite. The more people see of this game, like statistically, empirically, we can demonstrate it, the less interested they have become. And it's because they've continued to show more and more of the live service elements. Like already the gameplay wasn't that like interesting. The graphics, I don't think were that impressive compared to what they did in Arkham Knight. It seems like a big step backwards, or at best treading water, all in favor of pushing 60 frames, which doesn't really make sense because on last gen consoles, they were able to get like Arkham Knight looking way better than this at 30 frames. So most last gen games can run at 60 in this generation. So what is the problem? Like, it's all because of the co-op stuff. That's basically what it comes down to. But the more people have seen of this, the more turned off they get. And so you'd think the takeaway would be, okay, maybe this isn't what gamers want, especially because guess what? Warner Brothers had another very successful game recently, a little game called Hogwarts Legacy, which people loved. People loved. And guess what it didn't have? It didn't have multiplayer co-op. It didn't have live service crap. And that game, just in the first few months, generated over $1 billion in revenue. Just ridiculous profit. I mean, it's ridiculous how much money that game has made. And by the end of the year, it launches on Switch tomorrow, actually. It probably is just going to be printing even more money. So I think that it's really surprising to see that the CEO of Warner Brothers is now saying, oh, well, actually, we want to do more of the thing everybody hates and less of the thing that everybody just demonstrated they love. So in my view, there's two possibilities. For one, he is actually that disconnected and does think that he can turn like Hogwarts Legacy 2 into a live service game and it'll make the same level of money. It'll be just as successful. Maybe he is that dense to think that he actually could do that. The other possibility is something we've seen a lot of other CEOs do before, which is telling investors what they want to hear, not necessarily what is completely the truth based on what's going on behind closed doors. In which case, he could be just telling the investors, yeah, we're going to maximize profits and expand revenues by more live service games and blah, 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 and going into all of that, thinking of Suicide Squad like, oh, it's going to be successful even though people are hating on it. But with Hogwarts Legacy, for example, he's like, no, we're going to let them keep doing what they're doing. That's going to be one of the exceptions to the rule, but the rule is going to be this. So what specifically this means for like Hogwarts Legacy, the sequel, who knows? I think Suicide Squad is what it is. I don't think it's changing at all. I think it is what it is. It's going to be a live service mess and it's probably going to be hated on pretty hardcore. I would guess it's probably pretty polished, except on PC. They don't have a great track record with that with Rocksteady. But I guess it's a pretty polished game. It runs well. I just think it's going to be, it could be this coming year's Redfall, except polished, where it's just creatively bankrupt and it's just a live service game built to be a live service game and everybody's just mentally checked out of it and they're like, yeah, it's flashy and can be pretty at times, but I just don't see where the fun is. And that's the biggest problem for me personally with Suicide Squad is I just don't see where the fun is. Like, I watch the gameplay and I don't think, oh, that looks awesome. Like, if I go back to God of War Ragnarok's trailer, I remember seeing that trailer and just being like, oh my God, like, I want to see more of that. Maybe this one. Like, I remember seeing these trailers and it looked like something I wanted to play. Like, okay, yeah, no, get me there. especially as it goes on. The big expansive areas, beautiful to explore, interesting things and mysteries to find. Dude, now I want to replay this. Like, you see this, you look over. I'm like, yeah, I want to go explore all of that. That looks amazing. I want to do that. Suicide Squad, no part of that happens in my brain. My brain just does not make the connection. It's like, no, looks stupid. And that, again, that's a problem. That's not something you can just fix magically. I don't know what it is about Suicide Squad as a franchise, but it just seems like every time that somebody tries to make a game or a film about it, there's a tonal problem tied up in the marketing. It's like marketing companies don't know how to sell it. The best way to sell it, I think, is to make it like embrace the absurdity and the goofiness and stuff. And it just seems like they're scared to do it. It just doesn't make sense. It just doesn't make sense. So I don't know. It's a good question what they mean by that, what that's going to look like as time goes by. But honestly, at this point, I don't know, man. I don't know. If he honestly thinks that that's the best way to play it, if he honestly thinks that that live service is the way to go after the success of Hogwarts Legacy, I don't like what can you even say? Like, what can you even say? Nothing. Just baffling. Corey, did my cat ever come home? Nope. Mr. Finley is still missing. We've been on the lookout. I've driven through all nearby neighborhoods. We've told neighbors. We've posted to the Facebook pages of the Neighborhood Watch. Like, everything. We've put it out there. And so if somebody sees him, they'll know to grab him, bring him inside and call us. But yeah, we just nothing. Hopefully he's okay. He's resilient. I mean, he's such a big freaking cat. Like, no joke. You guys who have seen him on stream, he's like the size of a small dog or even a medium dog. Like, he's a huge cat. So he can hold his own. He's got his claws. I mean, if a bird or an owl tried to get him, he'd mess up the owl. Like, no joke. So he can fend for himself. The only thing I'm worried about is a car. Like, if he's on one of these country roads and got, like, did I ever tell you guys about the time I was buying a Volvo? Did I ever tell you about that? Like, I mentioned to somebody, yeah, we're worried in our neighborhood right now, or our city, I guess, that there's somebody going around and intentionally running over cats that they see. Like, they're steering into the cats that might be like sitting on the side of the road or whatever. Because there's been like 4 or 5 cats in our city that have ended up hit, but not in places where a car should be hitting them. And somebody was like, one of our friends was like, no way that happens. People aren't like that. I am not joking. Okay. Real talk. I was right out of high school and I needed a car. So I went and we knew a guy, and he fixed cars and flipped them basically. And he had like a Volvo station wagon that was from, I think, 1996. So at the time I was buying it, I think it was like 2016, 15. It was a 20-year-old car when I was buying it for like $500 or whatever. And it was, you know, it worked for me. It worked for me. But before I bought it, he was like, let me take you on a test drive. So I was like, okay. So I hopped in the car and he hops in the driver's seat and he's driving. And, you know, we're driving around and he's showing me, yeah, I can get on the highway. It can go up like that because a lot of older cars you don't take on the highway. He's like, yeah, look at this. So he gets on the highway and we're doing fine. Then he turns off one of the exits and we're on like some country roads off the side of the highway. And he's like, and you see the suspension's really good. And, you know, it's a bumpy road. So I'm like, yeah, like the suspension's surprisingly good for a 20-year-old car. And in the road ahead of us is just an ocean of groundhogs. Just an ocean of them. Not groundhogs, prairie dogs. Prairie dogs. If you don't know prairie dogs, these things are technically rodents. Oh, the pictures they're going to show are going to make them look really cute. If you don't live in a place that has these, basically they burrow and like they have little holes and they'll take over whole fields, and then they stand up like this when you drive by or walk by to see you. But like it's a big problem in Colorado. These things destroy like entire farms by themselves because they create these huge mounds of dirt, digging holes and trenches and stuff. It can destroy your lawn in like a week and a half. They are an actual problem. But these things were everywhere on the road in front of us. Jesus Christ. So these things are everywhere in the road in front of us. Dozens and dozens of them. You know what he does? Pedal to the metal, and he starts trying to intentionally steer into them and hit them. And I'm like shell shocked. I'm like, and he's like, see, the suspension's really good. I don't know how many of those things he ran over in the 5 to 10 seconds before like the prairie dogs understood what was happening and ran off the road. I was like shell shocked. I was like, what do I do? Like, what? Like, I just didn't know what to do. I didn't end up buying that car. That's like, I don't want to clean out prairie dog. But there are people like that who actually like will kill animals for fun. Not like hunting, just like prairie dogs or cats. They just view them as like funny to massacre. And so I don't think it's impossible that there's a guy in our city that just likes taking his big truck and running over cats when he sees them, and rabbits and stuff. Like, it is a thing, which is just madness. But the other one, like, you guys remember that documentary Making a Murderer? I just rewatched this the other day. You guys remember this? It was everywhere back in like 2015. Do you remember this? Well, this guy that the show is about, Stephen Avery, like, he's somebody where everybody, like, the whole series is about trying to say that he's not a murderer. Which, whether you're convinced of that or not, we could do a whole segment where I'll let you know my thoughts on it, because I've read a couple of books actually on the case. But one of the things they quickly gloss over is that he openly admits that when he was like in his early 20s, before he went away to prison for 18 years, he was at a party with his friends at his house, and they had a bonfire. And trying to be funny, he took their family cat, doused it in gasoline, and threw it in the fire. Yeah, they don't really talk about that in the documentary, do they? What type of person does that? A psychopath. Somebody who has no regard for life whatsoever. So, like, there are crazy off the rocker people out there, and they exist. They exist. Yeah, he did go to jail for that. Somebody did report him, thankfully, from his friend group that was there that night. But yeah, they quickly mentioned, like, yeah, I was messing with the cat, and the cat got into fire, and it went up. Doesn't say that he doused it in gasoline, which he did. Like, the whole Making a Murderer documentary, if anybody, like on a members only stream or something, or when we're really bored, we can do a whole segment where I'll just give you the lowdown on that case, because this whole thing was so freaking dishonest in so many ways. It's honestly shocking. It's really bad. But yeah, there are some actual psychopaths out there. Sorry, Tanner, what a time to join. Oh geez, I'm sorry. Yeah, keep tabs on the dude. Well, that dude is in prison. So yeah. You have to be a psychopath to have and have certain brain chemical makeup to want to kill animals. Yeah, there's some people, I think they said it's like 2.5 to 3.5% of the population are psychopaths. So like, if they do something bad, they are incapable of feeling guilt. And so chances are, you know, a couple of people like that. They might not know that they're psychopaths, but like, there are people out there that just are incapable of feeling guilty about something. Like, they could do something that everybody else would feel bad about, and they just don't understand that feeling. But then there's another level beyond that. So like, you know, with this guy tossing a cat into a fire, most people would feel really bad about that. He doesn't like feel bad about it. He's like, yeah, I'm sorry I got caught and then I went to jail and missed the birth of my child because of it, blah, blah, blah. But he's feeling sorry for himself, not for the cat. He doesn't regret that action independently. But there's another level where people find like killing cats or animals fun and funny because it's like a power thing. And those are the people that are actually like scary. Those are the ones you got to watch out for. Because like if they find that funny and fun, who's to say they won't find something else more serious, funny or fun, you know? That's when it's scary. Anyway, so video games, right? Anyway. Jesus Christ. Oh man. Oh man. Yeah, the office is coming together amazingly. If you have room, you should set up a table and mics and stuff and have a whole podcast set. We're actually going to have that in the other room, down in the basement. I'm going to be setting that up, and that's the goal. That's the goal. That's what I'm hoping for, at least. I think we'll do a set for the finance channel, which we're finally going to launch, and then we'll do maybe some other stuff in there, like, you know, a separate podcast set or something. My buddy approached me and wants to do like a Warhammer podcast. I think I need like a broader or a more specific concept than that. But yeah. We're getting a studio tour very, very soon. I basically just have to finalize the lights, because as you can see, like, lighting this is kind of tricky. Like, I have this thing where I can control the light above the Titanic and Hogwarts Castle, but even this, like, I'm just not super happy with the way it looks. So I'm gonna have to find a way to separately light them. This light over here, like, yeah, it lights up the shelves and stuff, but I think I need more color. So I'm gonna have to find a way to do that. I don't know, but I do like the bookshelves. I like the bookshelves a lot. Plenty of room for the collectibles and stuff, the Lies of P collector's edition, all sorts of stuff like that. The Order 1886 one. You can barely see it, but like, there's the hammer. We've got Elden Ring's collector's edition, Horizon Forbidden West, Armored Core 6, Assassin's Creed Valhalla, Cyberpunk 2077's up there, right? Where is it? Oh, it's next to Ellie. Yeah, Ellie, and then Cyberpunk. So we've got a lot of cool stuff there, but I gotta get it lit, and that's the tricky bit. That's the tricky bit. Todd Cutout is just in the closet. Todd's back in the closet. Oh yeah, Hades. I love the game Hades, Brayden. Yeah, Hades is amazing. It's a great game. Did you see that the guy who made Undertale got arrested for owning CP? What? What? Undertale creator arrested. Oh, it's Bits and Pieces mod. Hold on. Okay. The now former Undertale Bits and Pieces creator was arrested for possession of CP.
So recently, there has been some unfortunate news regarding Undertale's biggest mod, Bits and Pieces. The creator of the mod, Blaze Maze, has been arrested a couple of days ago for possession of NSFW content involving minors. This is truly a shock to not just the community, but the dev team as a whole, as Mr. George, who is now the mod's owner in place of Blaze, has stated that they will no longer be working with them, and the mod will be put on hold indefinitely until the team comes to a decision on whether or not development will continue. Now, I am shocked to hear about this, especially since this is likely the first time ever that we've heard of an actual arrest within the community.
Jesus, dude. So it's a mod. It's not the creator of the game itself, from what I can tell, but he got man. Good. 5'8". He's 19 years old. It's so weird to see somebody born in 2004 as 19. That's still weird to me. But 5'8", 210. A fair complexion. Yeah, good. I'm glad they got him. Jesus, man. Wow. That's... Oh, yeah. Honestly, I know it's a meme, and I know... I think I'm allowed to make fun of you if you get arrested for that type of stuff, but he does look like a Reddit mod. And again, I don't like to beat up and hate on people's looks, but again, once you're arrested for this kind of thing, it's hands off. He looks like the kind of guy that would own and be in possession of that kind of thing. You know, you see him and you're just like, nope. I'm not inviting him over. You know, that's where I'm at with him. Oh, man. Let's see. What I think should win Indie Game of the Year. Honestly, like, for me, it's probably Dredge or Dave the Diver. I liked both. Dave the Diver was a game that just kept getting bigger and more elaborate the more I played, whereas Dredge was, like, good, but it didn't really, like, shake it up too much.
Through Super Chat.
You know?
Keep up the content, bro.
Thank you, my friend. So it'd be close. I'm not sure which one would take it for me, but it would probably be one of the two. I'm just not sure which one would take it. Is Lies of P an indie game? Does it technically count as indie? Because if Lies of P does count as indie, then yeah, I'd give it to Lies of P, but I would think that that was a bigger production. Hold on, I'm really behind. Sorry, I gotta catch up on all these. Guyver, thank you for the 2 thoughts on AC Red trailer at the Game Awards. I think it makes sense, honestly. They have a good reputation and relationship with Jeff Keighley. So I could see them doing that, but I could also see them taking the opportunity to instead just advertise Avatar. So just put out like a launch trailer for Avatar, but maybe they do both. Maybe I think they could do it there, or they just wait till the summer and reveal AC Red there. Most likely they wait till the summer, but I wouldn't be like shocked if they announced it there. I hope that they instead show off Star Wars Outlaws, another trailer for that. That's what I want. Sean Dada, thank you, my friend, for the 10 Australian dollar dues. Headed to work, but we'll be listening in the car. Luke, send a PayPal through Discord link and kick me off Twitch. There's no unsub option. Oh, really? How do you? I guess I don't know how you unsub on Twitch. Because I don't think I ever do the perpetual thing. I always just, when I sub to somebody, do the single month. If somebody on Twitch knows how to turn that off for Sean, let me know. Let me know. I don't know if I can do that. Can I do that? Maybe if I quickly ban and unban him, then it will. I don't know. How would I do that? Also, Sir Soap 298, thank you for the sub over on Twitch. Appreciate you, my friend. And Sean, that's incredibly generous. Let me see. Oh, Jesus Christ, Sean. Everyone, is it F's in chat for Sean? Is that what it was in the game? Is that what it was? It was like the button prompt was, you know, you press F and then it screams Sean. I forgot what it was. But Sean! Sean, very generous, Sean. Thank you, Jesus Christ Almighty. A very, very generous tip from Sean. Very generous tip from Sean. Was it just F to pay respect? Oh, I don't remember. Okay. Venom. Also, thank you for the 10 pounds. Dilly. Saw a review of Starfield from Sun Jung today. They're a modder for Skyrim, etc. They really dislike the game even after 80 hours. Couldn't find the fun. They think modders are gonna struggle. Really? That reminds me of something. Pop Jake 01. Also, thank you for the 5. Keep up the content, bro. I will, my friend. Thank you so much for that. I think. Oh, it was Jason. You're right. It's Jason. So I've been surprised, and we've talked about this before, like that the Starfield community actually seems relatively burnt out, which is really, really fascinating to me because these people almost never get burnt out so quickly on games they're hyped for. Like Juicehead, who's a creator who mainly focuses on Bethesda stuff and like games similar to BGS titles, said, I'm really curious to see what happens with Starfield. It's a great game with also great flaws, and it feels like people just lost interest quick. As a simple example, I posted a video on Starfield's biggest update yet, and a day later a video about a big new Fallout 4 mod. They have almost the same number of views right now, which if you think about it is effing wild for 2 months after release, which is, I mean, a mod for a game that is 8 years old versus an update to what was allegedly one of the biggest games of the year. Like that is surprising. You know, it's really surprising. And then like this also was interesting. And I'm shout out to Juicehead for shutting this down real quick. He said, this person Afterthought said, it is retaining an eighth of its player base on Steam, 10 weeks out from launch. That's pretty good. I don't see you talking much about the politically motivated hatred of the game, pronouns, girl bosses, diversity. That's probably why you aren't able to explain / understand this. I haven't heard like any politically motivated hatred of the game. I mean, if that's the level of cope you have to go to assume that, or to like, explain away why people are not connecting with your game, I don't think there's much hope for you. Like, no, people just honestly didn't think the game was that good and they didn't like it that much. It's not because there was like pronoun selection. Like, yeah, there was one guy that lost his mind over it, and yeah, that was really funny. But the reason that clip went viral is because everybody thought it was so outrageous to be that upset about it. Or girl bosses. I've never heard somebody complain about girl bosses. Maybe that exists. I've never heard somebody complain about that. Diversity. I've heard people complain about diversity, but again, not in the context of Starfield. I haven't heard that at all. And like, I get thousands and thousands and thousands of comments that come in, and we see a lot of the like stupidest ones because they're really funny to read. And I've never heard somebody be like, yeah, Starfield's a pretty good game, but all of those mixed race people, you know, like I've never heard that before. And to Juicehead's credit, hard disagree. Starfield was meant to be bigger and better, but is retaining less players and getting worse reviews from players than ever before. I don't think this is politically motivated, or we would see similar issues with Baldur's Gate 3 and several other games. Fantastic point. Fantastic point. If you're going to say that the game is being hated on for political reasons, why are other games that are direct competitors not getting hated on for those same reasons? At least in any tangible way, you know? Like, it's just not. Dude, the level of cope of some of these people. Was it stated anywhere that it was supposed to be bigger and better? Dude, it's literally 1,000 planets. How is that not bigger? Like, what? Like, again, this is one of those moments. Like, I don't know if they're trolling. I don't know if they're joking. I don't know. Maybe they're serious. Yeah, that's the intention, but pay attention to the bottom part of Todd's words here for me. They're going to support and build upon the base game so people will play it for 10 years. It never was going to be that right out of the gate. But it's also, okay, or also one where, okay, what does Starfield look like in 3 months? What does it look like in 6 months, a year, 2 years, 3 years, 4 years, 5 years? We've learned that it's going to happen. So let's be ready for it. Make the most of it and embrace it. That's what we do here. And with our modding community, we learn so much there, giving ourselves a really, really good base of a game to build upon for everybody. The whole question is the base of the game, though. That's what we're talking about. If he's saying, yeah, we want this game to be around for 10 years, you've got a problem if people have already checked out after 2 months. That's what everybody's saying. Like that's the whole point. Yeah, it's literally the most played game on Game Pass. Yeah, that's great. But don't let it distract you from the fact that the Houston Texans have won 5 NFL games already. That's pretty funny. That's actually pretty funny. I'll give him credit. So like, I got into a little bit of a spat with Juicehead because Juicehead posted a tweet that he's since deleted, where he was like, it was after Phantom Liberty, and Phantom Liberty released, and then CDPR had an investor call, and right after the investor call, the stock price dropped. And so Juicehead said, well, Phantom Liberty dropped. They had the investor call, stock drops. Therefore, Phantom Liberty is the reason the stock dropped. And so he posted a tweet saying, specifically, Phantom Liberty has been a financial disaster for CDPR. And I responded back to it because to be fair, I was kind of terse with it. I had seen like 10 different people post similar stuff, and it was just so not true that it was giving me a migraine. So I quickly replied back, and I was like, no, it was not a financial disaster. Every metric that can be measured says it was a financial success. The reason the stock dropped is because they concluded all development on Cyberpunk, which has been their only windfall for however long, for years. And they have nothing else lined up. Gwent is slowly collapsing. Their GOG is not really growing or doing anything major. And now they have nothing else bringing in revenue. No big updates or DLC expansions or anything, which a lot of investors were hoping for. And so now there's just nothing bringing in money for the next however many years until we get the next Witcher game. And so investors are understandably like, okay, I'm going to take my money out. And once you have stuff to make money, I'll put the money back in. And that drives the price down. It was nothing more complicated than that. Like, that is all there was to it, is just simply they have nothing bringing in money. And that's why the stock dropped. But some people looked at it and thought correlation equals causation. And we're just like, oh, well, see, so the stock dropped close to this thing happening. Therefore, this thing is why it dropped. And it wasn't the case. So I will say, I was a little sharp with Juicehead. I will be honest about that, and I do apologize for that. But it was specifically that I was very frustrated that somebody as freakishly smart as he is was buying into such a quick, like, clickbaity idea. And I thought he can do better. That's just kind of what my stance was. And to his credit, he took the tweet down and was like, okay, it seems like I misunderstood that. And we moved on. And now to see him coming around and, this is why I like Juicehead. This is why I think he makes good stuff, is because he is a fanboy, at least in certain ways, but he can at least look at it and call it like it is when there are issues. And a lot of creators can't do that. A lot of creators, they hype up their games that they want to hype up, and then the game comes out and they just kind of never say a bad thing about it because they don't want to piss off their audience, and then it just drifts away into the ether. But again, to his credit, he's calling it out. When it has problems, he's calling it out, and that's good. That's all you can ask. That's all you can ask. So I guess I offer to Juicehead an apology for my aggressive tweet, and I want to give him mad props for smacking down some Starfield fanboys, making us all proud. I guess you could turn that into a clip, Jacob, like a clickbaity clip. Luke apologizes to Juicehead, and then you can like Photoshop my face with like tears running down my face. I think it'll be funny. That'd be good. Oh man, it's the roid rage. Yeah, exactly. I'm sorry, everybody. My medications are just making me such a mess. Oh my god, wait, do you Oh, dude, I forgot about this. Hold on. I got to show you this because we talked about Boogie last week. I swear to God, this is going to be a quick thing. Okay. This is going to be very, very quick. But I have to show you this. I have to show you this because it's one of the things I haven't laughed out loud in an inappropriate situation this hard in a while. Like, in a while.
We got it.
It was just like I was doing dishes and I just started like uncontrollably laughing. You guys remember we talked about Boogie last week and like Wings of Redemption and DSP and all that. Well, the Madmen actually did it. They got the Lolcow Live podcast up and running. Okay. It's a thing. It's a thing that's happening. And so they have Boogie, Wings of Redemption, and Tommy C. I don't know who Tommy C is. Apparently he's another Lolcow, maybe lesser known. And he replaced DSP, but he actually manages to kind of be the one that kind of forces Wings to bounce off of Boogie. And shockingly enough, Wings of Redemption comes off as like the most mature adult in the room. But just watch this. This is what like each podcast episode is like an hour of this. Okay, just buckle up.
We got to line it up again. And on 3.
So this is the teaser of them synchronizing the audio, okay? Before they were officially filming or anything. This is how the show was before it even started.
When I say the word 3, clap into your microphone. Can we all handle that? All right. 1, 2, 3. Do it again. 1.
Synchronize the audio.
2, 3. You guys line up? Think we're good?
I don't know, man. I tried.
All right. When I say the word 3, I'm going to clap to my microphone. Okay. 1, 2, 3. Did you, Boogie? Did you even attempt to clap?
Yes, you can see it on the video if you don't believe me.
All right, sure. That's good. Well, if you can see your hands, it's probably easy to line up. All right.
Oh God, dude. Oh man. I thought Boogie might have been playing a character and like trying to come off as like, because Boogie does this all the time and it's gotten him in so much trouble over the years. He's a big fan of like Andy Kaufman, who is he was a comedian. Why isn't my keyboard working? Andy Kaufman. He was a comedian that would play things like super serious and like nowadays it probably wouldn't really work in a lot of ways. But he'd have like, you know, he'd go on these talk shows and then he would come as a character, one of his characters who's like, you know, a drunk or a drug addict or that's homeless, just had his wife leave him and just pretend to be a total disaster. But he wouldn't let anybody in on the joke. He would just pretend like this was actually him, just somebody that was having like a mental breakdown. And like all these different characters where he, let's see, is this him singing?
I don't know nothing. Could we start the tape?
So he would do these characters, and Boogie does it all the time because he's a huge fan of Andy Kaufman's work before he passed away, and as opposed to after he passed away, I guess. But Boogie will do this where he will play a character while on like a show or something or in a video, trying to be like what people expect him to be or embracing the meme. I don't think that's what was happening here. I think Boogie was just like, they weren't even filming yet. He didn't know that like this was part of the show. I think he was just feeling grumpy and sassy, and he's upset because the way they filmed it, he can't see the other participants. He can only hear them. So I think he was just pissed off about it and act like throwing a fit over it. And like this sound synchronization on 3, clap. 3.
1, 2, 3. You guys line up? Think we're good?
I don't know, man. I tried.
I don't know, man.
All right. When I say the word 3, I'm going to clap to my microphone. Okay. 1, 2, 3.
Dude, it's so stupid. It's so stupid. So I don't know what what his deal is, but I think Boogie needs to probably stop trying to be Andy Kaufman because it doesn't play that well. Anyway. So yeah, you should go watch the Lolcow podcast because it is actually quite funny. It's quite funny. It's an argument about documentary discrepancies. Well, so I watched the documentary. The whole thing was just that in the documentary, there are a lot of discrepancies and there's also a lot of mistakes that Mike Klum made in the presentation of the numbers. Like when he shows on screen, when Boogie says like, I think if you add up all my stuff, I'm broke. And then he shows like a basic mistake. He shows home equity in the assets tab or column of the, or row, I guess, of the equation of calculating equity. So he says like assets minus liabilities equals your equity, what you actually have. And look, Boogie's at 0. He's broke. But that's not true. Like, because you put the equity that he already has in the house in the wrong column. So the math didn't math. And so there were a bunch of little mistakes like that then come back onto Boogie when frankly they probably shouldn't. Like, yeah, Boogie's wrong when he says, I think I'm broke. The documentarian should be like, well, Boogie, these numbers don't add up. Look, you have $130,000 in equity today. If you sold your house today, you'd have this much money. And he just, I think it was a handful of like little bitty mistakes that stacked up. But you're right. Not another 2-hour segment on that. We've been there, done that. We'll shift. We'll shift into something else. What else do I have? I can close down all the G4 TV stuff. Okay, I've had this pulled up for like a week and a half, 2 weeks. I want to see it. You guys have known that I'm big into pirate stuff. I have been for a long time. I love pirates. I want more pirate games. I think they'd be awesome. Commander Zemos, thank you also for subbing with Prime. Appreciate you, my friend. I love pirate stuff. However, we don't really get very often pirate games. We just don't. We don't. However, it's come to my attention that there's apparently a Pirates of the Caribbean MMO. Pirates of the Caribbean. And it's called Pirates of the Caribbean Online. It launched in 2007 with the Panda 3D engine. It was developed by Disney Interactive Studios, and Silver Tree Media. And like the website's still up. Apparently it's still a thing. You can still play it. Like it's a thing. And so this creator, Mitch Mannix, put together a little video. I will share it in chat so you can go show him some love. And he went back and tried it in 2023, and now I'm tempted to try it. A new HonestCon dropped. Okay, I have it pulled up. We can do that next. Okay, let's see what it's like. I've never seen this before.
Of the Caribbean Online, a truly bonkers MMORPG that after a number of delays in development opened its doors to players in October of 2007. As with so many others we have adventured into.
We'll see if we get copyright struck for this music. I mean, if his video's still up, it's probably okay, right? Probably.
Too recently, Pirates Online, after 6 years of life, would close down in 2013. But thanks to a number of talented and passionate fans of the game, is now back and available, thanks to the Legends of Pirates Online project. So grab your mega pint and get ready to set sail
Legends
as
of
we
Pirates
dive deep
Online.
into its world to see what it has to offer players today, exploring its lands, taking on its challenges, and meeting its inhabitants.
Aren't you a sight?
Oh god, this one's going to be cursed. isn't it?
2007
My name's Mitch
graphics,
Mannix,
dude.
and this is Pirates of the Caribbean Online.
So one of the interesting things about like the late 2000s is that Disney was still making games. And since then they've abandoned it. And this is, once again, it all goes back to Bob Iger. It always does. Bob Iger, when he took over Disney in like 2005, he was already iffy on the video game space. He was like, I don't know. I don't really want to do it. And the reason is because Bob Iger is a TV and movie guy. Bob Iger is not a video game guy. He doesn't do the parks. He's always delegated that off to other people. He doesn't mess with it. For better or worse. I mean, he just doesn't touch it. And I think it must have been like 2009 or 10. He completely shut it down. He completely walked away. And instead, he started licensing out their IP to other game designers and developers that would produce the games, publish them. And then Disney would be like the strategic partner, helping with distribution, advertising, stuff like that. But they just decided, hey, we're not going to make games. We're going to pay people to make games about our stuff. And sometimes it works out well, with like, I would say probably the Jedi Survivor, Jedi Fallen Order, those games. Other times you end up with just like EA getting exclusive rights to the franchise for years and then only making Battlefront 1 and 2 with it, that both are not received super great. Nobody, good to see you, my friend. Rocking and rolling. What's funny is that Iger is a huge fan of Kingdom Hearts. Is that KH? Really? That's funny. Disney Dreamlight Valley is pretty good. Yeah, that's another one that they licensed out and did it. And so honestly, in the grand scheme of things, it probably makes sense, but it's also led to situations where Disney will only very selectively share IP. So we haven't gotten some of these spin-off titles that would be particularly cool to see. We talked previously in a main channel upload about a canceled Pirates of the Caribbean single player game that was months away from launch, and then it got shut down and basically abandoned. Nobody's seen it. Apparently people were able to play it at E3 like 2008 or 9 or something. Maybe 10 or 11. I don't remember exactly which one it was, but it never released and nobody's ever seen it since. However, this MMO actually did launch and was something that they supported until they just decided to move on to other stuff. But it's heartbreaking because I love the Pirates of the Caribbean franchise. And part of me still hopes, I know like Johnny Depp doesn't want to do anything with Disney ever again because they screwed him over with everything when the Amber Heard stuff dropped and then they dumped him. And he's like, no, I'm not going to go help them out. Maybe if Bob Iger leaves and a new CEO comes in and they change up management and, maybe then they could get him back. But part of me hopes that we get another Pirates of the Caribbean because I just love it so much, dude. I love it. I love it.
Up the game, we find ourselves locked up with none other than the man himself, Jack Sparrow, clearly already highly intoxicated and voiced by Jared Butler. No, not that one. Or that one either. Introducing us to the character creator, where Pirates of the Caribbean Online sports a middling amount of options to craft your personal pirate. And given the setting, I have to admit was expecting a little more, with the faces in particular just being alternative, more dirty and scuffed versions of the same one. But we need a hero for this journey, so must of course call upon the one and only Captain Picard, Ian Coke, a legendary pirate that, along with a habit of pulling rather disturbing faces and a passion
2007
for
graphics,
sports a name
man.
that totally doesn't breach any of the rules given when asking to name your character, as we are given a temporary name of Sea Dog while ours is approved. Well, this is a pirate
that's
game
funny.
after all. It would be only topical to attempt a little bit of smuggling. And with that, our escape with Jack begins.
Works every time.
Oh, geez, guys. Hold on. I just got a message that they're looking for. Yeah, I just got a message that I need to, like, a pretty serious thing is happening. Oh, geez. Okay, I'll go on a BRB screen. Give me a second. I'll be back. I'm sorry, everybody. I'll be back.